Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Callista Solon, and this is NLC Trans. Tonight I'm here with my usual co-host, Tara Alexander, and a special guest who is somebody that you all know and love, Father Russ Carmichael. And
I don't know about that love stuff.
Oh, come on. Everybody loves you. We all love you. Father is our biggest supporter and an all-around lovable character. Trust me. But anyway, tonight we wanted to talk a little bit, and I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to touch base with you, Tara, on this before the show, but we wanted to talk a little bit about the possible misconception. And certainly there are a lot of misconceptions in what we do, in our sort of arena of expertise. There's a lot of people out there that really don't know that much about it. And there's a lot of alphabet soup that we sort of understand and probably nobody else does.
It being transgender.
Yeah, and it's confusing.
And Father wanted to interject because he watches your shows.
And Father always wants to interject.
And yes, and Father, having a lot of children,
yes.
Okay, I watched several of your shows, and of course I personally know how all of you feel about things, but I think you have an audience out there that...
right.
It may be new to what you discuss on here, inquisitive, and it's probably good to find out where we are, especially on the discussion of children.
Yes.
And that's which is, like I say, I have so many. There's
yes.
a reason I'm Paul's father,
Lots.
aside from everything else. And
yes.
You know, from a parental standpoint, not from a ministerial standpoint, I asked. I wanted to be on the show so that both of you and whoever could, could talk about, where we are with children. So.
Right. Yes.
So I'll take some heat on that.
Oh no! But this is something absolutely something that was worrying me a bit too. Is that that there may be a misconception about how the whole transgendered child thing works, and it is confusing. And if you don't know, about this stuff, you could easily have watched some of our previous shows and thought that we were advocating, young children having surgeries and transitioning, and certainly that isn't really the case. I think it's pretty well established that children, by the time somewhere between 2.5 and 4, know that they have sort of a developed gender identity, and they know if there's something wrong. But the notion that there are children out there that are having surgeries, young children having surgeries, it just isn't true.
No.
It really isn't true, and we certainly advocate getting help if you have a child that's saying, Mommy, I want to be a girl, Mommy, I want to be a boy, and they're not. Obviously, you want to get that child help, and you want to listen to that child, but there's a long, arduous journey to go down before you actually have a surgery. And generally, that doesn't happen until a child is of legal age.
Well, you had several callers, very, very good callers. I've watched the show. I have other people that watch the show. Obviously, I'm concerned. I love what you're doing. It's and the education. And you have had some very, very good, serious callers
yes.
inquiring about that. And then you had a show with the advocacy group,
True Colors.
True Colors. So as I was watching as a parent, I watched that show. Was that right? There was a little bit of confusion,
yes.
and then I watched somebody address the question, and I thought there was even confusion on that show, and that's why I asked, and I don't know what you have with research there. I did my own. I did
Good.
some of my own research, and as Tara's over here looking at what I have. This is Trans Kids Purple Rainbow Foundation. Which is a whole foundation that is, its mission is to deal with children
yes.
and their parents. And it was what was so, when I did a lot of the research, the person that was on this was from The View, what's her name, the news announcer.
Yeah.
God bless him, I can't even think of what her name is. I should know her name. I mean, she's a famous she's a famous announcer. And
I don't-
Barbara Walters?
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. You saved my life. Yeah, Barbara Walters. And Barbara did a show on...
Right, I was aware of that show. Of course, I don't
a
know.
year ago.
I don't watch TV, so I don't know what show she's on.
Well, and it's probably worth pointing out that purple frequently gets used to represent transgender kids because it's not pink and it's not blue.
Right.
Right.
This has nothing to do with Republican and Democrat purple.
No, it did. It
It's
doesn't.
between pink and blue.
But what was so interesting that I found out, and for an audience that wants to find out about how you deal with children and the questions, I found that was one of the best sites on the internet to look at, and they talk about what their mission statement is they're committed to the premise that gender identity disorder is something a child can't control, and it's society that needs to change, not them, which I totally agree about. That's why we do education and learning. Society needs to understand what
Right.
these issues are, face these issues, and deal with them in a proper and educated way. I mean, that's the emphasis of what we try to do, and even with my show Street Talk, is to bring good information to the public. Sometimes it doesn't work for Father, as we know, that I occasionally can flip out, and that's not right. But they'll strive to encourage families to allow their children the ability to grow up free of gender roles.
Sure.
So in effect, when you have a child, and as I said, as a parent, that is displaying differences, okay, in my layman's terms, that you don't suppress it.
Right.
You let them play the way they want to play. I mean, I let all my children dress the way they want to dress, and obviously I had more girls that you folks know than I had male children, and
You poor thing.
yeah, well, Father.
Prepared him for his future.
Yeah, well, Father was Father's interests were ladies. When I went to prison, it could have been different, but it
Could
wasn't.
consider it karmic payback for all the ladies he knew in his younger days.
It is payback, because there's still, well, anyways. Well, we're talking about children.
Talking about children,
Right.
yep.
All right. The true colors, the purple, it's Trans Kids Purple Rainbow, is committed to enhancing the future lives of the children by educating schools, peers, places of worship, the medical community, government bodies, society in general, in the effort to seek fair and equal treatment for young people. I mean, this is
Right.
I found this to be a great site because not